Drink too much. Hey, the video started as I said that. Wait, it says live 37 seconds. We weren't even live for more than 5. What is it counting?
I don't know. Mine's saying like 11 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I got a live counter up at the top corner, which I didn't even know it had. Either way.
Oh, we have to stop this. It says that Shoki Reviews is going live. I want to watch that.
Okay, watch it and be in it at the same time. No, let's not play that game, because I think that's what happened yesterday during our premiere. We had 3 sources viewing it, and there were 4 people watching, and 3 of them were us.
That one person that was commenting was a brand new subscriber. I'm not sure where, and he
came from my channel.
He did come from your channel? Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my subs. Hey, somebody's watching. Hello, whoever's watching.
Hello, person.
I just shared it. Probably Joan. It's not me. I'm not watching it. Anyways, what's going on, guys? So the other day when we did the live stream, what was that? Sunday?
I believe Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, so Sunday when we did the live stream, we got off on a topic about the new Gundam Build Divers ReRise series, and well, we wanted to go into a little more depth with it, kind of have hopefully a weekly discussion about it if we can pull that off, every time we get a new episode. But we're 5 episodes deep into the series now, so we got some stuff to talk about. Okay, so Michael Hale is here. Id Munster is here. What's up? I haven't seen you in a little bit. Yeah, that one would have been me. Would have been you. So now we got 3 watching, only 2 commenting. So hi. But the other day we were talking about, or me specifically, I was talking about my issues with the series so far, and in particular, one of our heroes, so to speak, that was really annoying me with his attitude. And you had a very different point of view, which is one reason why we're doing this, because we definitely don't directly agree with each other on what's going on with this series. So if you guys have not caught up, I suggest, if you haven't watched the series yet, at least up to episode 5, which we will be discussing tonight, go do that first, and then rewatch this kind of review slash reaction, whatever we want to call it, discussion. Yes, and of course, guys,
theorize
theories, things like that. Which, by the way, guys, of course, if you don't know RODIMUS13, you have not been paying attention to my channel. He's been featured many times. We literally just finished a collaboration, working together to end his spectacular month on his channel. And if you have not watched those 3 videos, go watch them. They're in a playlist on my channel. Please watch them all, because my video that started it has double the views that his video that explains it has. So go make that number equal, guys. But I mean, you can wait till after this is over. But either way, it's a lot of fun. We had one heck of a thing go on, and then the end of that particular series, for now, was on my channel today. So did a lot of work, both in building things and in filming, and I did 3-4 days of editing to make these videos happen. So,
which I'm very grateful for. I know
you should be, because I won't see a dime from all of that hard work. Like all of that hard work, I won't even see a dime. But
if it makes you feel any better, I'm not going to see a dime of it either.
Oh, you might eventually. If anything, it'll help add to your watch hours that you'll need for the eventual
monetization.
The eventual monetization, yes. Hello, if you guys are watching, I see 4 there. If you are watching, go ahead and say hi in the chat. Of course, if you have any questions or anything, comments like that as we go, by all means, bring up stuff that maybe you want us to discuss about it. Okay, so where do you want to start out? You want to start out just at the beginning with a quick recap of what's happened so far?
Sure, go for it.
No, I meant you.
Me? Oh,
because I've talked.
So what? Start from the beginning, episode 1.
Yeah, just a quick recap. We don't need to go over every little thing, but just
so start from episode 1.
Yeah. What happened?
So ReRise is ReRise is the 2nd season of Build Divers, and I can't remember if they've specified how much time has happened between the 2 seasons. But the server has gone, the GBN game has gone into a new update, and so we're following a new batch of characters whose names escape me because I'm horrible with names.
Okay, so we've got Hiroto, which is the hero. So Hiroto.
Okay,
we got Hiroto, May, who's like the secondary badass on their team.
Yeah.
We got Parviz or Par for short, who is my least favorite character for the most part right now. And then I wrote his name down, Kazumi, who is
right.
Justice Tard.
I feel bad for him.
I don't feel bad at all. But continue. I just wanted to.
Anyway, so we're following these characters. Hiruto, in particular, has something mysterious going on with him. He's playing the game, but he seems to be looking for something or someone. We occasionally see flashbacks with him and a young girl with sort of silver white hair, very similar to Sarah, which leads me to theorize that she's probably another. What was the term they came up with in season 1?
Oh, I don't actually remember what they called them, but basically it's a rogue AI that's basically turned into a thing. I'll take Par over Kazumi. Yeah, thanks, Eric.
And so he seems to be looking for her or something like that. And so he pops up into servers and games and looking for signs for something, does badass things, and then disappears.
Yeah.
Then one of the Par, I think, is the one that finds the weird message in a back alley. He's getting like some sort of weird message from this weird puppy person that's asking for help.
Yes.
And all of them end up getting sucked into this, and it looks like it's some sort of weird story mission thing, which is something that they heard was being implemented into the new update. And now all 4 of them are together, and they've been assigned as a team, and they're supposed to be helping this village of NPCs that are all these like anthropomorphic puppy people.
Technically, they're MPDs. I was corrected. I was corrected that on. I forgot they're non-playing divers, so to speak.
Oh, an L diver.
Yes, that I made sure I put that on the screen there. And people are saying that it's like 2-year gap, which I must have missed that because I was under the impression it was like 6 months. It seemed way too close.
I mean, I was figuring that it was at least like a year or something like that. Like the time span between when season 1 aired and season 2 aired might have been about it.
The MC is OP, but it's pretty good. What MC?
Main character.
Oh, main character. Okay. Don't abbreviate everything, guys, because some of us don't know. But yes, no, I agree that Kirito is way too much of a badass, but I guess we need somebody who doesn't need to be developed as much. So go ahead. His character development is just going to be seeing the difference between, I think, who he used to be before he met that girl, and then who he is now in the way he treats GBN and other people and stuff like that. So, but he is awesome.
One of the things I like about him is that, he's a badass and he's supposed to be, but he's not a braggart about it. He doesn't make a huge deal about his skill as a pilot or his skill as a builder, which it's obvious that he's very skilled at both of those.
Yeah.
But he doesn't beat it over people's head or lord it over them. He's just he's the calm, stoic type, which is a little bit different than what we've had in the past.
And very different from at least 2 of his teammates.
Yes.
He's very much the opposite of Kazumi, who wrangled him into this. He wanted nothing to do with it. He didn't want to be on a team. He didn't want to team up with anybody. He was searching. The only reason we see him in that first battle at all is he's searching that particular dimension or world for whatever, if it's that girl. So he's searching everywhere, trying to figure out where she went, something like that. Kazumi apparently says it was 2 years ago in the first episode when he was talking about the coalition battle.
Oh, okay.
Against the Devil Gundam. Okay, I must have really missed that.
It's possible. I haven't rewatched the earlier episodes. I rewatched the latest one for this thing, but yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going, since you can't see the comments, I'm not going to post what this particular person just said because it's something I was going to bring up later.
Okay.
So, Yeah. Okay, so that's right, Jerry. Basically, Hiroto is the person who just knows everything. Basically, I don't know. People were saying that there was a Patrick cameo in the last episode. I didn't see him, but I guess I wasn't paying that much.
He was on the blimp.
Was he? Okay.
If you look, if the blimp that sailed across in like the very first scene, he was on there wearing. Actually, now that I think about it, he was wearing like the shirt that like Lala from the original Gundam wore.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
which is
I just missed
a really weird thing now that I think about it. But he was wearing this sort of yellow shirt with like a like sort of a pale yellow shirt with a yellow neckline and sort of design that went off of that, and he was making a forward hand movement.
Okay, I must have missed that because when I started watching that episode, I was at work, just killing time, but I was also trying to pay attention to other things, so I might have missed that clearly. Patrick is generally in every episode that we've seen. He pops up occasionally in the background or whatever. He's never just actively there, which I want to know who. Okay, so Eric said he didn't see him either. That's why he's asking. Okay. So it passed over everybody, but I was watching more of the important stuff, not the crap in the background. So either way, they're in this mission battle, it seems like, or story mission, I should say. That they have no idea how long it is. They just know that they're wrangled into it, and nobody can proceed with the missions unless all four of them are there. Which the main reason that comes up is because, of course, in the last episode, Par basically decided to be a little wuss and kind of decided to quit the team over not wanting to fly, which was my biggest problem with that episode, as I told you and brought up the other day. The idea that clearly he knows what his Gunpla can do, but he's scared to do it for some reason. And I rewatched that episode again yesterday when we were setting this up, so I could see what was going on. Maybe there was more of an explanation. And clearly, he's having flashbacks to like this rainy, stormy thing that happened.
Yeah.
And part of me wondered if maybe he was in a plane crash or something in real life. Like he has a fear of falling, not necessarily a fear of heights. But you see in that one, it's like he's looking over a cliff or something and it's storming. And then another one, he's reaching out for somebody or something.
And when I rewatched today, or the most recent episode, he's talking to his Gunpla, which he gives it a name that is not the same. That's not like the name of the actual mobile suit.
Yeah, Morgiana or Morgiana.
Sort of a Nitaku situation there.
Yeah.
But he's talking to it and he says, I can't, something about like, even here I can't fly, or I also can't fly in GBN, or something along those lines, basically indicating, at least the way I was interpreting it, that he would, even in this virtual world, he can't bring himself to fly.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. I think a couple things he said here, because I made notes. Because he keeps having panic attacks, especially when it comes to either heights or losing someone. So that's where I got the idea that I think somebody died. Like in reality. Because he says he's new to GBN, he's never really battled, and he's never been on a team, but he has this badass Gunpla. So that's where I came up with the idea that it's not his in the first place, and maybe it belonged to somebody who mattered to him, perhaps this Morgiana person. And that's why he calls it that, versus Valkylander, which is the name of the actual Gunpla. So I find that strange. And we also see that it seems to be able to move and act on its own. When they have, really interesting. But it got confusing whenever he was talking about Gunpla having feelings and stuff like that. And then he's having this side conversation. It was the same conversation he had in the previous episode where he said, I can't let you fly. I'm sorry, I'm not good enough for you, whatever. Basically is what he said. He feels he's not good enough for the Gunpla, which is something that's strange.
But in this episode, he did make a comment about I built you with love or something like that.
Something is, well, there's this is where it comes down to if it's translated properly or not. If you built it with
True.
love, or if it's built with love. It's one of those things like that. So it's kind of weird because one, we already know that Gunpla can sort of have a mind of their own or feelings of their own, you know, especially if the person who built it with certain intentions and things like that. And you can see that with the, even though I hate it, the Double O Sky. Oh, sorry, the is it Double O Sky?
Double O Sky was the
Yeah.
Double O Diamond was the original.
Yeah. So Double O Sky, when it's damaged, but it can still, you know, it was left there to feel the pain of the previous thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can see that they react to emotions, and the fact that in this case you saw that it moved on its own and was like comforting Par, which I found strange. Kinch says that and Par just wants a friend, so he's going to have the power of friendship to make him stronger. Yeah,
that's true.
Fuckery Rosalind. So maybe Morgiana was built together with another person. I think Morgiana is the person he's referring to. I think that there's somebody who passed away and he feels like he wasn't good enough to represent them. And it has something to do with Valkylander. The fact that he, in the last episode, he was so serious whenever the idea of the wings was brought up. He's like, no, they're not wings.
Yeah.
You know, and then he just bails. When Hiruto clearly could tell what was going on there, he said it's a very well-built Gundam. You know, it's a good custom. It's a thing like that. It's like, why? Because he basically was saying, it's like, look, you're sitting here praising my build, but you built this. You know, that's where it leads me to believe that he didn't necessarily build it, because he knows about it and knows what it can do, but he's acting like he's not the one who did it, and it's not as good as something that somebody else did. But my biggest problem, I can understand the fear of flying or falling, especially if something happened that was traumatizing in real life. That totally makes sense, because a lot of these characters have some type of trauma or something like that. You always got to have somebody who's got a thing other than just being a kid, you know, who wants friends, which we get that a lot. But in this episode, we all knew what was going to happen. We all knew that eventually he was going to have to fly. They sort of gave that away. And I brought it up to you that I'm like, they could have split this up a little bit. Like, instead of, I get tired of them kind of creating a problem and solving a problem so quickly. Like, things get resolved so fast that it's like, we could have played that out a little bit. And I get that since the first or second episode, probably the second episode, is when we first were introduced to his fear of heights, or flying at least, which might just be a fear of flying, and that might be all that it is. But the fact that it was brought up as a major attention thing, like, I have to fly. Oh, I can't fly. I don't trust myself to fly. I don't think I'm good enough to fly with you. And then this episode, oh, I don't have a choice. Will you fly with me? And then, oh, hey, wings of light and magic sprout, and apparently is fire resistant.
I don't know. I kind of like that sort of trope, but I can see how it would be tiresome for some people and annoying for people.
Well, like I texted you yesterday morning after I watched the episode, but you hadn't. What did I send to you?
So it was like emotional damage equals hidden badass or something like that.
No, emotional breakthrough.
Emotional breakthrough. Okay.
Emotional breakthrough equals sudden badass. So he couldn't pilot before. He was barely able to hit targets with simple fire blast. Kept falling on his face. All of a sudden, I had an emotional breakthrough because I was forced to. And now I'm clearing the field of almost all the bad guys. Like,
and you see, I like that kind of thing, but I'm a sucker for stuff like that. So
I just, because to me it doesn't feel like development. It comes down to what I told you the last time, where it was, he knows how good he is, but he was purposely holding back.
See, I disagree with you on that I don't think he is purposely holding back.
Well, we
And
know
I'm not
he
even
was.
certain I'm not even certain he fully knows how good he is. But I think he's holding back because he's scared to try. He's scared to get into the fight, to fly again. He's basically got the emotional trauma there that's preventing him from doing this stuff. It's not so much he knows he can do this. I just don't. I just think that I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
No, I mean, I get the idea of being unsure of yourself, which is clear that he's very unsure of his skills.
Yeah.
He doubts what he can do. He doubts his piloting ability, but he also apparently knows exactly how awesome uh, the Valkylander is. And he knew that transforming or flying would be fearful. You know, he'd be scared of it. But he also, at some point, if he built it and he programmed it, like we talked before, he knew exactly what it could do and that it would be capable of much more. So the real question is, if he wasn't lying about his skills, then the Gunpla was doing all of that in the battle.
Hmm.
So is it that the Gunpla took over? Like, clearly he's the one who made it transform and whatnot, and he
Yeah,
called
because
on it for help.
he called out was it Dragon Fusion or something like
Yeah,
that?
Dragon Fusion, yeah. So he's fusing, and it looks like it could have an armor without it as well, which would be pretty cool. Um, which, don't get me wrong, I like the design of the overall Gunpla. Like, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, Dragon Mode is a little clunky, but it would be just like all of the other transforming SD Gundams are.
SD, yeah,
They're a little clunky in one form and not in the other.
it's better than
Um,
the Dalong thing from Sengoku Sokoten.
yeah, we just missed out Deep Fry Morgiana. That's terrible. Thomas Nguyen, what's up? Rogue Goof, I see you there. I got a few more people jumping in. But it's the same idea that, okay, if he was this good, and then he just all of a sudden, like I said, suddenly becomes a badass, I have a problem with that because I don't see that as development. So if in the next episode they need him to battle and then he goes back to being fully unsure of himself and can't battle, then what? Does that mean any development from this other than the, okay, I can fly now? I mean, I don't want to, this is like, it seems like too big of a leap, like so fast, like literally, like, okay, I've got no choice but to get over it in this moment because I have to save myself and I have to save my friends. I mean, it was literally like the Super Saiyan moment.
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, it's literally that transformation trope of any character like that, except for the fact he wasn't a badass first. You know, it was this trauma that or this danger that he needed to overcome that made him a badass. All of a sudden, from somebody who was considering himself a weakling, you know, a bumbling whatever, like he always says, I can just fall on my face, I'm not good enough, and then all of a sudden clears the field of all but one of the bad guys.
I don't know, it. I mean, I guess it makes me think a little bit of. You see that sometimes in Kamen Rider Super Sentai stuff. I think also it makes me think of Digimon a little bit,
Yeah,
where they're in trouble, and that's when they
upgrade.
find the heart of the find the heart of the cards, and they do
Find
their
to the
thing.
heart of the cards, yeah. So once again, sudden badass. So
Yeah,
this is heart of the Gunpla coming back out to us, kind of like see, here's the thing. Okay, so if you go all the way back to Build Fighters Try, and you
right.
remember the battle with the Denial Gundam, and he was
Okay.
getting his ass kicked. He was literally broken and almost done. And then he basically like fuses, like, you know, very, you know, like fuses with uh Try Burning
Hmm.
and suddenly just continued to be a badass. Like, he was, that made sense because we had seen way more development over that season for that sudden power up to happen. Now, mind you, never did that particular thing again, but we got to see that as it developed. Like, this was literally like, I have something awesome. I really don't think I'm good at anything, and then all of a sudden, I'm a badass. So it's either he was lying and he is a badass and he's just scared to be a badass, or it wasn't him. It was like the spirit of Morgiana.
I guess I just don't see it as lying. That feels like too. I see where I see what you're saying. I just feel lying just seems like too strong of a word for it. But I don't have any better way of phrasing it.
Well, the reason I say lying is because he's literally voiced the fact that I'm not good. I've never been in battles, and then wins a battle, a major battle for everybody. For everybody's sake, he becomes a badass. That's my problem. But like I said, it's either if it's not him, then make it clear that it was the Gunpla that did it, because I think it makes his character development look disingenuous.
Fair enough.
I think it shortchanges his own character development if we don't get. I mean, if they give us the reason why he's scared, like in the next episode, fine, give us some explanation. But if they don't really go there, and then they just move on with the next chunk of story, and just like, hey, what was that all about in the first place? You know?
Yeah, because they still haven't explained where this all came from, and all the flashbacks are super vagueness of vagueness. So obviously they're going to, at least one would hope they would expand upon it in the future. So one would hope something would be explained.
Yeah, I think that's basically what's going to happen here. Okay, so it seems like we have to move on to either the female character or the goof off or background. Okay, I don't know what he meant by that. I'm not sure what he meant by that. I think that okay, so we'll move on from Par, because I mean that's just my biggest problem with it. But like I explained to you, I wish they had spread it out over another episode. Like,
and I can understand that.
Like I said to you. Okay, so I'll go over this real quick. So, say the previous episode, you know, it ended on the okay, where is he? But then we got to that after the intro in this episode, and then he shows up and says he's going to quit. They should have had him coming up and saying that he's wants to leave the team and quit in the previous episode, and then give us a little bit more time with that, and then them bringing him in, and a little bit more story time, maybe even extend the battle a little bit, because we went into that real quick with very little preparation. Whereas we've seen in previous battles they've gone into, they've taken a couple days, they've even run simulations, things like that. It seemed like they didn't prep for this one nearly as much, and it was going to be more or less like an escort and diversion mission, which they kind of went through. He escorted the jeep full of guys over to the other entrance where they could come in, I guess, and sneak in with a bunch of bombs. But I think that this episode should have ended with the base exploding, them not knowing if anybody made it out alive, and then the new units coming out to battle, and then like leaving on that low note. I think that would have been a better place to stop, and then the next episode be the battle and the prologue of the battle. Because it went too quickly, and I was like, there could have been a lot more to that. But I do like how much damage those bombs did. It basically wiped out the entire base.
Yeah.
And I do dig these new designs that they're coming up with for the Death Army. But like those two particular guards that were enormous, I thought was funny. It's like the other ones have been like their size. It's like these are like PG size in comparison.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It's like the last time we saw a size discrepancy like that was in the first Build Fighters, when that one guy busted out a mega scale Zaku onto the battlefield.
Well, he didn't bust it out. That randomly showed up. That was just in there, and it was going rogue. That's whenever the system was somebody was making the system do random things. But no, you're right. That was actually pretty cool. So let's go back to the very beginning of the episode with what happened with May, where she was in Maggie's bar discussing what was going on with the mission. Now, I'd forgotten that she had previously gone to Maggie and asked him to talk to the administration and find out why this mission is acting the way it did, and if there's any parameters for restarting it or getting in, because at that point, you know, if they could go without somebody, that'd be great. And Maggie comes back with basically a bunch of excuses.
Yeah, like, sort of non-answer things.
A lot of good.
I was gonna say, it's like, and after that May gets the call on her communication system.
Yeah.
Heads off, and then Maggie kind of looks back at May as she's leaving the bar and gives this look that basically, to me, screams, Maggie knows something. They know something.
Yeah, and it comes down to what I discussed with you last time, where I said I think the original Build Divers, for whatever reason, are involved with this, and Maggie for sure knows what's going on. Like Maggie was like our handholder through the entire first season, like
Yes.
because we had a bunch of newbies who didn't know what they're doing, and they needed help. Maggie was there to help them and even befriend them, and then become like really involved, like through most of it. So Maggie is very aware of what's going on, and then with everything else that happened during the coalition battles and all that stuff like that, I'm sure there's a lot of connections made and stuff like that. But May wanting her to kind of backdoor her way in, or his way into the answer to this mission. Yeah, I think it was all BS. I think Maggie knows what's up. There's something going on with that. But it was very obvious in that case. And it seems like every time May brings it up, some kind of distraction happens. Like the first time two guys walked in and they're like, oh, hey, now I got to go take care of these guys. And then this time it was Maggie's assistant interrupted and then May had to go.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely more going on there. I'm sure we'll see in probably 2 more episodes. If they keep coming back to it every episode, it'll get kind of old. We need to forget about it for a second and then come back to it.
Yeah, and I got a theory on that, but we can touch on that a little bit later if you want.
That's fine. I was just kind of going over our characters at this point. So we kind of covered Hiroto. The only thing we know about him is that he's been around for a while. He had some kind of interesting interaction with and what seemed to be an MPD that's different, like made him truly appreciate Gunpla, truly appreciate GBN and stuff like that in a very different manner. And then obviously something happened that she went missing, and we don't even have her name if I remember correctly.
I don't think they yet said a name.
Yeah. So he keeps having flashbacks to spending time with her. And one thing I had missed in the first episode or the second episode when they had to guard the village. And I remember he was like trying to guard the fields and that one little sprig had come up. I had missed the original flashback where clearly he had been in a battle. She was there, and like he looks post battle, like he's out of his gunplay. He's tired. The core Gundam is damaged. She's laying on the ground, and there's like a flower like crushed right next to her. So I missed that flashback. I was wondering when I watched it why that plant meant something, why he felt he really needed to protect that. So it got instilled in him to protect every inch of something that matters. So I mean, he's a good protagonist, but I don't know that he's gonna get. I don't think he's the one who needs to develop. I think he's going to be the one with like a flat character arc.
Possibly, yeah.
Whereas some of these other idiots have, positive character arcs. Like obviously Par is going to have a positive character arc. He's got to have something to overcome. But I think Kazumi, being the kind of egotist and moron that he is, I think he's going to have a negative character arc for a little while before it becomes positive. Because he's the one, like I discussed, he's the one who's going to have to learn his lesson. And he's not on board yet. He still hasn't. It seems like in this episode, whenever Freddy was riding with him into battle, he's like, wait, how does an MPD get into your gunpla? I thought that wasn't allowed. And then
he's been slowly piecing together that there's something weird about all this. Because this episode in particular, there were like 2 or 3 lines he gave. It's like, why are they acting like this? Why is this not Gundam based? That doesn't look like something that was made in Gundam. Why do they have all these interactions that usually don't have this level of detail? Why is this thing riding in here? Why does it smell like a goat?
I don't remember that. Because smells weren't a part of it.
He made a comment about like he made a comment about it's like your tail smells like a goat or something like that.
Okay, I missed that because I didn't think they had the ability to smell anything. But no, the fact that he's like pointing out all these weird things and it's just not clicking in his head. It's clearly clicked in everyone else's head that something is different about this mission, that these characters are different. And it goes down to I wrote it down here, basically that the MPDs are real somehow.
Yeah.
And the main reason for that was whenever we're watching this episode, and it didn't quite occur to me previously until this episode. So remember, they're in the hut and they're talking with Jed or whatever his brother's name is, the grown-up one that went into battle with them.
Mm-hmm.
They're discussing the mission and stuff like that, and that one is watching through the window, and then the sister or whatever walks by. They have a whole conversation outside that hut.
Exactly.
That our main characters didn't need to see, didn't need to hear, but they're showing it to us, which means that these are characters. These are real. These are real characters. These are not MPDs.
Same with the people that went into the base to destroy it. They had their own little comedic moment and stuff like that, which may or may not have been a reference to some old to an old Gundam episode where some Xeon people were coming in to blow up the Jaburo base. But still, they all had these interactions, and none of the Bill divers with lowercase I are around to hear any of that. They're out fighting there. You could somewhat rationalize the thing outside the hut because maybe they were just in earshot or something like that, so the programmers would have but something like that in there.
See, I would have thought that they
yeah.
To me it'd be the opposite, that inside the base part would have been something that would get played out as a character thing, because it's possible that somebody would have gone with them, because they would have made the same discoveries regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would have all been programmed as part of the mission if that was a cutscene or something like that. But a random discussion outside the thing when all other characters are inside and there's no way they could hear them. To me, it was just like anything that we can see that's happening without the main characters makes it seem like it's not it's for us, not for them. So that's where I say that, they've got to be more real than that, which they were already alluding to that fact. The only time it seemed like they were straight up characters in a mission and a story in a game was the first 2 times they logged in and Freddy basically had the exact same reaction in the temple. So
and then like a little menu thing pops up stating all the objectives.
Yeah. So that part's the same, but it seems like anything that happens between that's not specifically mission related is all real. It's very strange. Like the way they act in the thing, like the kids that come to, like when they're protecting the base and they have their plan laid out, and those 3 kids who want to come in the middle of the battle to come see Par in battle, and they nearly get killed, which actually causes him to wreck the Valkylander. It's like, that seems like something that you would need to be notified of if it was a real game issue. Like, by the way, they're coming to battle, you better protect them, not a why are you guys here? Like nothing about it is like everything. The reaction of our main characters to what's happening around them is what makes it seem way too real. Like they're questioning it, not just the one idiot. Everybody else seems to accept it, but I think that not Mikazuki recognizes something first, because like with the old grumpy guy who just wants to plow his fields and keep his shit together. When he witnessed him, like, okay, it's the verge of battle, they could die in the next hour. He's literally out there tending his fields. He literally went, okay, something's different about this. I think after experiencing an L-diver, basically, I think he now sees more to it, and that's why he's really interested in what's going on in this particular world. So Kinch says Hiroto is like Mikazuki from IBO. I say kind of, but not really, because Mika was kind of a robot. He cared about things, but he's very robotic. I think that Hiroto is just distant and disconnected.
Yeah, because Hiroto obviously has his own thoughts and desires and stuff like that, while Mika was pretty much okay, who do I kill now, Orga?
Yeah, until Mika had something more to really care about, he was just a kind of senseless killing machine. It wasn't until they really started getting more and more freedoms, and he got closer with Atra and Kudelia that he started developing more as a character. Whereas I think that Hiruto is just like, he's been through some stuff, and somebody brought it up before. Had a theory about his connection to the build divers. Jerry, what is your theory, if you want to share? So he's I think that he had a reaction to the name build divers, so maybe he was actually involved with the original set of build divers
somewhere in that 2-year gap.
If it was a 2-year gap, it's possible that he was involved with them at some point, because he really had a reaction to that name. He looks taller in the latest episode. That's kind of funny. Jerry, tell us your theory while we're waiting here. But I think May isn't really getting okay, so he says that Hiruto's version of Sarah didn't make it out where the real Sarah did. I think that's true, but he's looking for her. And I think that if, say, the administration did do what they did, because everybody knew what was going on, they put it up to like everybody to know.
Plus, everybody knows what L-divers are, because they had that big, game-wide announcement. Hey, we just created life, and it's dangerous, so we're going to kill it.
Yeah. So if you knew another L-diver and you wanted to keep it a secret, that'd be one thing. But if you knew that they were going to be doing a reboot that was going to eliminate any L-divers, then you would do what you could to get them out or save them. So it looks like he knows she went somewhere. He just has no idea where.
He wants to see the sky or something like that, right?
Well, he just likes the sky. Well, Par was bringing up the fact he likes the sky in the new thing. But what Hiruto said, he's like, there's something about this world. And that's why he wanted to stay. He said, there's something about this. And I think that it, like I said before, maybe it's kind of a safe haven for. Ooh, there's a theory. Maybe it's a safe haven for L-divers. And I just thought about the idea that the One-Eyes are actually the administration trying to eliminate them.
Well, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I just had that thought.
This plays into my theory that I was coming up with. Should I go ahead and talk about that?
That's fine.
So my thought is, for season 1 of Divers, we leave off with them exploring the new server or new world or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking either at that place or at some other new world that was created or something like that. We have sort of a Tron legacy thing going on where they go out and they find other L-divers, and that's who these NPCs are. And they are doing what they can to keep them secret and safe.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily from the administration, but from other people who may not understand what they are and try to do something bad to them, basically. Because they register as basically destructible elements within the game.
Yeah.
But they're technically alive. So people could go over there and just go on a murder spree if they want because they're just game sprites to them. But the build divers know that they are real people, basically.
Real things, at least.
They are.
Calling them people is it's a stretch on the word people.
They are living creatures of a sort.
Yeah. Which I think is the obvious answer, is that they are real living electronic life forms. Which, L-diver, it's an electronic life form. But I don't know, maybe it's not the administration, but it does seem to be a very automated system. But why would it be built around missions that they can do? That's the only thing that's weird.
The only thing I can think of is that basically they are
like, if you built a safe haven for them and you really didn't want anything to happen, why would you build in the ability to attack them.
They may not have
And,
a
like,
choice. It's all hardwired into the system.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he said the preview for the next episode touched on that. Yeah. The next episode showed that weird, strange armed Gundam thing wiping out that whole other resistance cell, the Team 4 or whatever. The Mark III custom taking out a team of resistance fighters. Yeah. So, but that's an actual. See, that's the thing. Is like, that is a real diver doing that. So that's an actual person in that mission. So yeah. So that's weird that there would be that, and it's not a automated character. Like the One Eyes all seem to be automated. The Death Army characters are all automated to attack, and they're all programmed to do exactly what they're supposed to do in the game.
And I think the duplicates for them are labeled as MPD, just like the Leos are.
Yes, they're non-playable.
Instead of warning that I got 15% power.
Why don't you plug your phone in while you're doing these things?
Because I don't think about things like that.
Well, plug it in, because it might die. But anyways, so yeah, I think there's obviously something going on there, and the fact that we now have a direct antagonist that's a real person that's in there. And gee, I wonder if that guy they're talking to in the regular thing is the guy in the mask, because they never allude to those things ever. But one thing, my theory that I came up with, and it's what HG said earlier. What are 2 side missions, one saving, one conquering? That would suck, especially if you're playing with actual electronic life. You're like, hey, do you want to kill him or do you want to let him live? Do you want to be an asshole or do you want to be a savior? What do you want to do? But anyways, HG said it earlier in the comments. That's why I was blocking it, or at least from you from seeing it. It was something that didn't occur to me until this episode, because they keep talking about his dad as if he matters. He's always off. He's always writing. He's the one creating the mission.
Huh.
He's writing the missions that they're playing. Because they made it way too centric. That dad's always been locked away for a couple days writing, or he's having writer's block. And it would make sense that as he may not know what he's doing. He thinks he's just writing a story, but he might be seeing like the results of the story. Like, as he's writing it, he sees the other half, like it's getting filled in, kind of like a living story.
Yeah.
So he writes the missions and then somebody completes them. So, and it started out from the beginning.
I've just been assuming that he was a novelist or something like that, but that's because the way they are characterizing him is similar to some other characters I've seen in other anime, where they were writing books. So I just assumed, but I'm now thinking about it, they've never specified
what he's writing. Yeah,
so I don't think so.
But because this episode ended with him getting inspired by the mom cooking, it's just like he came up with the next chunk that he was stuck on. Like he came up with an idea that, okay, now this needs to be a thing.
And then after that, we see the evil Mark III or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think it's called the Seltsam.
Okay,
I think that's what it's called.
Interesting.
I think, so I think that's kind of what he came up with. Like, but if he's like writing, I'm trying to think of what that's like. There's a movie that's just like that, where he's writing in a book and the story's happening. It's not like the Never-Ending Story. Never-Ending Story was happening and it was writing in the book as it was going. But what if it's like that? What if he feels like he's part of a system he writes one half of what's happening and then the reaction comes to him? You know what I mean? Like he writes the story, the mission gets fulfilled, but he sees the filled in stuff that he has no way to know about. Like the heroes do this and stuff like that. Like what if he thinks he's co-writing a story and the other half comes in or something? There's got to be a reason. It's like I don't know. There's no other reason except that he could be a part of that. But there's definitely a show that had a very similar aspect to it.
There was a movie where there was the guy that he could suddenly start hearing a narrator, and then he hears something about it's like, and this was going to be the day he died, or something like that.
I don't know. Okay, so he's saying about to be writing pretty fast. Yeah, but think about it, Jerry. They got gaps in their missions. They have days of gaps in their missions, and they keep talking about his dad is tucked away for days writing, like 2 or 3 days. Okay, it's going to be 2 or 3 days till the next mission happens, and
You
then
can also write you can write stuff pretty quickly.
yeah, I mean, you guys write out your comic books your comic stories fairly quickly, and like you could have some stuff written in advance. Like if you're just missing certain things, like, and you get that inspiration, that's fine. But I think that's not that fast of a turnaround, especially if he thinks that the story is kind of filling in on its own when things that he didn't write happen, and he's like, okay, the heroes did this, and then this happened with these characters. I don't know. There's a movie with Will Ferrell, Stronger Than Fiction. I don't know.
Stranger Than Fiction.
Stranger Than Fiction. I read that backwards. I don't know. It was a cartoon. There was something where that happened, where he wrote what happened, where the character didn't know that what he was writing was the story the main characters were going through. I think it might have been an anime, honestly. And then, because it's definitely an anime trope. And then they find out that, wait, you've been doing this all along? You know? And then, or maybe they were playing were they playing a video game? Holy crap, they might have stolen this entire story from somebody. Because I swear to God, there was another anime or a cartoon where they may have been either in a movie or they were in a video game, and they found out the other person was writing it, and they realized what was going on. But there was the guy writing it didn't know that the actions of the other characters, like he thought he was just doing it. He didn't realize that he didn't make up the characters that they were playing.
Well, there's Recreator, where
that's gotta be something I've seen, though. It's like, that's the thing, is I haven't seen that much. I don't know. I swear to God, there's been something along those lines. Actually, it's kind of like Supernatural, but in a different story. See, the more I talk about it, the more familiar it seems. I swear there was a series. It was either a cartoon or like a Power Rangers type thing, because it was like a team of heroes, and they were going through the story, and then they find out like their dad, their uncle, somebody that they know is the one like who's writing the bad guy stuff.
That sounds familiar, and it's driving me nuts that I don't know what you're talking about.
See, Jerry said, yeah. See, Jerry's saying the same thing. Where like all the bad stuff that's happening is the dad or whoever. It might have been a Digimon season, honestly, because it almost sounds like something happened in Digimon. And he doesn't realize that the characters that he's creating and writing are fighting against his kids or whoever. And then when they figure it out, then the bad guys kidnap the dad. Like the virtual characters kidnap the dad and force him to keep writing the story their way. Like he gets pulled into the world. I swear to God, it's a thing. I swear. If you know what, does that sound familiar, Jerry? Like, I
keep coming up with things that are similar to that, but not that. Like, I know in Big Bad Beetleborgs, there was they were pulling the powers and stuff from the comics, and the bad guys eventually pulled the.
Was it Beetleborgs? There was the comic creator. Yeah, there was the guy who was writing the comics in Big Bad Beetleborgs.
There was the good guy writer, and then there was a bad guy writer. There was that like had stole work or something like that and was in jail, and the bad guy pulled him out, and then we're using him to create new
characters,
bad guys for them to fight,
but not the
and
story.
That's when they got
maybe that's what I've been thinking of.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Beetleborgs. That was like Beetleborgs season 2 or 3, like when they got the upgrades. Because I remember that was the plot. Yeah. Sounds like a plot to Spy Kids. Oh, maybe. I swear, because I mean, it does sound a lot like that with Beetleborgs, but that's where they were creating new characters. Never seen Beetleborgs, but it seems super familiar. And I don't think it was Power Rangers, because I remember
look this up when we're done or something like that. I don't have a computer in front of me.
and it's not like it's not like Heroes where the dude was drawing the comics about what would happen. He just didn't realize he was seeing the future. Like he was like seeing the future and drawing it or painting it into a comic book. He just didn't know. He wasn't creating it, and then the other characters were living it. But that was an interesting. But I think that's what's going on. I think the dad is writing the story, but doesn't know that his son is playing it out.
I still think that the puppy people are Eldivers.
No, I think they're Eldivers.
Yeah.
But I think the missions and the story that's happening around them is the dad, one way or another. Because it wouldn't make sense for them to keep bringing up the fact that he's writing or that he has writer's block. You know, and the fact that he suddenly gets busier when they discover the mission.
Yeah, because like if you go back to like original Build Fighters, the fact that Iori's dad was always away was an important plot point because it turns out he's actually, you know, part of the Gunpla Interpol.
Hold on.
So to say, I know you're not frozen. I can see the movement of your fan and the reflection behind you.
Hold on. I'm trying to. I'm seeing if I can do.
Maybe while you're doing that, I'll go grab a power cord so my camera doesn't die on me.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. I'm seeing if there's a thing there. No, that's nothing I've seen. My Hero Academia. No. See if anybody. Okay, so the Eldivers remind me of that late. The 2011 Thundercats revival. Yeah. You know, every time I see Jed or whatever his name is, I swear he looks like Lino. I refer to him as Lino. So yeah, you're right. Brings me joy to see that Sandrock box. Nice. Sandrock box. What are you talking about? Are you talking about behind me? Oh, okay. It's like I don't see a Sandrock box. Yeah, it's gonna bother me too, because I don't actually, because I swear it sounds like a thing. Why does it keep coming up with My Hero? Oh, because I typed in hero. That's why it keeps looking up My Hero Academia. I don't know. If you guys figure it out, if anybody knows what we're talking about, please leave it in the comments. But yeah, the fact that, you know, it's definitely obvious that they're doing something with the dad. But if we've got a mysterious story happening that nobody seems to know about, and then we got a writer who keeps having writer's block every few days or disappears for a few days writing a story, and then our story missions are taking 2 or 3 days to load out, then that might be the correlation there. But we'll see what happens. I'm halfway wrong usually with my predictions. But I think, okay, so my prediction when we talked on Sunday was that within 2 episodes, Kazumi would have to have his come to Jesus moment, or his need to turn his life around. So this episode was Pars. So I'm thinking it's going to be next episode or the episode after that he's going to have to stop being the idiot who just runs in first and actually play as a team member, stuff like that. I remember the main character being really devastated about finding out who the writer of the story was. Okay, yeah, see, I think we're thinking of the same thing, but I have no idea what it is. That's a problem. Like, if 2 people at least, I mean, are we having a Mandela effect moment? It's like, because I said it, now everybody thinks it's a thing. Was that a... No, I don't know. Like I said,
Power.
Power. Unlimited power. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Jerry and I at least are on the same page. We need to see if anybody else is. So, guys, if you know what we're talking about, if it sounds vaguely familiar, see if you can search it better than I did, because my Google search really didn't help. But I think, because I can't remember if it was an anime or if it was just an animated show. What about because it seems like one of those series where they got stuck where they were, or maybe they were popping in and out. There's a theory that he's a kid, that's why he's acting like that. It would make sense if he's a kid, because you know that the characters can look like whatever they want.
That Pars looks like a kid, or that Pars a kid, or that
you're talking about Kazumi.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, but the fact that he's like very selfish and only worried about his reward or his reward title, I don't know. If he took place in, or if he was in the battle before a couple of years ago, like I don't know if he might have been a kid or not. He might be younger, or he might just be an idiot. Almost everybody is very similar to their characters, though. That's one thing that they've kind of showed off. Even Maggie in real life was very, very similar to his character in the game. So,
but that'd be a good thing to play on your expectations a little bit. So far, everybody looks almost identical to their characters, and then you have like little kids show up going, "Yeah, I'm Kazumi."
Yeah, I mean it's possible. I mean it happened in Ready Player One, so I mean that's possible. And yeah, like Captain Xeon isn't all that he's cracked up to be. Obvious JoJo reference, yes. Yeah, Maggie's definitely a JoJo character for sure. But yeah, the Captain Xeon, who I guess is going to be part of the next episode, or because I couldn't tell if that was him talking or Kazumi talking in the preview. Like, because obviously Kazumi watches his GTube channel. I don't know if he's going to like try to make his own channel or something like that. I think he was telling people to watch his GTube. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I like the idea that Captain Xeon is totally a fake, because we discussed that last time. That, you know, he's way too OP. Like his everything is just way too powerful. Even if he's maybe a tool of the administration, like he's kind of making it out to be like, I'm the protector of GBN and fair play or whatever. He's jacked like a JoJo character. Yeah,
that would actually be interesting because he's based off of there was like a Captain Xeon superhero character that apparently was referenced in an older Gundam series or something like that. That was basically being used as it was propaganda for.
Yeah, it's kind of like Captain America was in the
exactly.
Before. Yeah. So okay, I think it was Kazumi because he says he's got 0 engagement. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think it's Kazumi trying to become a GTuber. Still so stupid. Why would anybody choose to just make videos for a living like that?
Especially about Gundams and Gunpla. I mean,
yeah, I mean, if you've got a lot of money and the availability to just build something cool or pretend that it's cool and get sponsored, then yeah, sure, why not have a thing and let everybody watch? Yes, it's from a manga side story. I will look it up. Rogue Guff is going to look it up for you. He's Gundam's All Might. Yeah, I could see him.
Yeah.
Is it? I was trying to place I didn't look up the actual guy who plays him. I recognize the voice though. Like we should look that up because it might be All Might. Because that guy's in everything. Hold on, let me see if it's on here.
You got extra screens to look at. I got none.
Gundam Build DiVERS ReRise. I want to see the cast. Yes, I know it's an animated series. Give me the actual things I want to know. Okay.
Don't fail us, IMDb.
Not even. Okay, so. Oh, that's not useful. Okay. Number of episodes ongoing. Great. Okay. So the next episode is Hero on the Brink. So, okay. Oh. Maggie's bar is called the Adam's Apple. I didn't know that. Oh, that's weird. All right, so other characters, Captain Xeon. Okay, let's see if he's actually got Japanese voices. Is no, go away. Sho Hayami. Sho Hayami. Googling.
Google. Hey Google, what's this thing?
I can't type correctly. Okay, go away. Really? Hold on. Nah, stop it. Oh, you know why it sounds familiar? It's the same voice as Rommel from last season. The ferret.
Okay.
Is that Magi Legend behind Rodimus? Yes, yes, it is.
Magi
Yeah. So
No.
okay. So well, he's looking at your whatever your ranger stuff is behind you. Okay.
No,
So
Leo Convoy is behind me.
oh, that's right. Yeah, it looks a lot like yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how about that? He was a voice of what's his face's adopted father from IBO. The one who what's his name?
Already told you I'm bad with names, dude.
Blonde boy from blonde guy from Gillahorn. What was his first name? I can't think of his name now. Either way, he played his weird rapey adopted father. I'm going through like he's got his list of characters he's played.
Yeah.
He's been in all kinds of different series.
Sounds like he's a regular on Sunrise Bandai stuff.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, how about this? He was in Gundlander, The Revelations of Darkness, because we found out that the Valkylander is based off the Gundlander. Gaelio. No, not Gaelio, the other one. Why can I not think of his name?
It's probably printed on one of the boxes around you.
They're all buried up there. I can't believe I cannot think of the name. But his dad he's a Nadio. I guess obviously I should click on it. It'll make more sense. McGillis, that's right.
I was about to say, it's like, actually, I have.
Well, that's the funny part. McGillis was his first name, in case you forgot about that. Yeah, so McGillis's father was played by a weasel, which makes sense. But yeah, I meant to see if it actually was All Might. That was I was looking up. Let me get out of the Gundam wiki. But apparently, it's played a ton of Gundam characters. Show Yami. Oh, I thought that was a woman first.
It's kind of like how Scott McNeil was in almost every Gundam series for a little bit until they stopped using Canadian voice actors.
Oh, I just realized why I know the voice.
Why do you know the voice?
He was Aizen in Bleach. Yes, McGillis was his first name. Okay, so let me look at some of his stuff here. So he was Bleach in that. He was Nicholas D. Wolfwood and Trigun. Yep. I really wish it would just show me all this. Okay. I'm just going through. Look at Macross, Mobile Suit, Gundam 808, S Team Trigun. I guess I should look for more modern stuff. Here we go. When did I was just double checking? Yeah, he's not in. He's in Goblin Slayer. He gets around. Goblin Slayer, Build Divers, Card Fight Vanguard, Food Wars, Digimon Universe.
Oh.
All right. He's literally Assassination Class. Okay, so he's not All Might. That's all I want to know. Like specifically. That'd be funny. Oh, he's in Aldenoa Zero Season 2. Now we're just completely off the thing here. Okay, so guys, if you have any questions or any other comments, by all means, throw them at us because we're gonna wrap this up pretty quick here. Or do you have any other thoughts, Thomas?
Oh,
he was in Digimon Cross Wars.
main thing I can say is that I'm really enjoying the show. I mean, I'm easy to please with some stuff. But this series, I feel like I've been enjoying more than the previous one, and I like that it feels like there are stakes. I mean, not that I didn't like the previous show, but it does feel like there is legit something that could go wrong for somebody.
Yeah. Okay, so here's something that might interest you. He was in Transformers Cybertron, like the series. But
Oh,
I don't know if that was the Japanese series or he actually voiced in the English. But he played Vector Prime, the narrator.
well, Vector Prime was a full-on character in Cybertron, which was Galaxy Force in Japan.
Yeah, it says Cybertron, it doesn't say Galaxy Force, so I gotta wonder.
That's weird. No, because the voice actor for Vector Prime, I think it was the same voice actor as Rhinox in Beast Wars.
Well, I know. I'm just saying that they may have just not changed the name. Oh, it says that he played Ultra Magnus in 1987, so he played the other version.
The Japanese voice for.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, here's Transformers Super God Master Force. He was in that. Wow, he has like been around. He was the Japanese. He was the Japanese Zarbon from way back when. Holy crap! Like I'm just going through this guy's IMDb.
This guy's got to be up there in years.
Yeah, he looks like he's in his 40s at least. I didn't see his actual name. He was Frank Archer in Full Metal Alchemist. Looks like the original one, not the remake. Yeah, 2003. Yeah. Bleach, Aizen Sosuke. He was Juan in Pokemon. Okay. Detective Conan. Interesting. He didn't play that. Just he was in it. Oh, he's in it with several characters. Okay. Interesting. Now just like off on this side mission here. Oh, he was in Brotherhood. Nice. He played a different character in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Nice.
Funny how things like that work.
You gotta love when you come back as a different character entirely. Yeah, that voice sounds familiar. Well, I guess he did the same thing in this one, unless he's actually. What if Rommel came back as Captain Zeon instead of sticking around? That would be
interesting, considering because Rommel was he styled himself as a Zeon pilot, even though he was piloting the Grimoire Red Beret, which was a G Savior. But all of his
not G Savior.
What?
Not G Reco.
G Reco, thank you.
Yeah.
But him and all of his subordinates dressed as Zeon pilots, didn't they?
Yeah. I think that's what they were. I don't know. You think I would recognize that? What did they pilot? No, I don't even remember. But yeah, Rogue Goof. I think that it does have RG Eva though. Yeah, that's the thing that's coming. I think it has potential to be a redeeming series. I have the hope that it'll be a redeeming series. There were a few good things. We talked about it before. A few good things from the first season. But overall, I think it didn't do what they wanted it to do. Well, actually, they did what they wanted to do. They sold a lot of kits. I mean, this is about as big a commercial for selling kits as they've ever had.
Oh, totally.
I mean, that's why I like that we're not getting a
year over year.
Yeah, but I think I still would have rather had a good ending to build fighters rather than leaving that hanging or finishing out in a manga that nobody knows about. It's like they left us hanging. At least give us another movie, give us something. No, we get a whole other series that's not tied to it at all, that most people were not happy with the first season, and now we're getting a second season that looks like it could be good. I'm still giving it a chance. I just want them to get away from direct tropes. Is there anything you haven't liked since? I'm assuming you mean so far. Is there anything you haven't liked so far? Obviously, I've expressed my dislikes.
Anything I haven't liked? Let's see. Like I said, I'm easy to please, so I.
Yeah, you don't think too hard. You're like, ooh, pretty shiny colors.
I swear there was something, and now I'm blanking on it because you people are calling me on it. And I'll probably come up with.
Well, I mean, it's only 5 episodes to think about. I mean, and they've all been. I mean,
outside of the show. Outside of the show, one thing that I'm worried about is that we're not going to get a kit for May's current suit. Because something I noticed in the opening everybody has a little moment where they're showed off with their suit, with their kit, except her. We just have her floating in data or something like that, and then a close up of her eye, and then we cut to everybody else having a little thing where they're posed with their suit in the background. She doesn't have that, which makes me worried that we're not going to get her weighed on, and then she's going to get stuck with a more girl appropriate kit or something like that.
I don't think it'll be a more girl appropriate, but I think it'll be a better something, you know. But we've already been shown almost everything that's coming in this season. So far, is there a kit that looks unassigned? Like, who could that belong to? Because her colors are pretty obvious, and nothing else is in those colors that I can recall from what we've been shown.
The only thing that I can't think of if we know who the pilot is for, is the Gamma Gundam.
That's a possibility, but being that that's a p-bandai, I feel like that's going to be something that's on screen for like a second. Almost every p-bandai kit we got from Build Divers was something that was very, very quickly shown and then gone. Like,
trying to think of anything else I don't care for.
one of the other problems I'm having, they say that kit's coming. Yeah, there's still a couple that are unannounced, that are unfulfilled. But here's an idea. Do you think that at some point we're just going to see a combination of all of the armors? Like, he's going to have like a solar system armor that literally, like, chunks of all, presumably 8 of his armors, are going to come together to form one thing.
I'm sure, because they've already shown in the advertising material that we're going to have a thing where they have different combinations of at least 2 of them, and I don't see any reason where, you know, it's sort of a half and half thing, or sometimes it's mixed up, almost like Kamen Rider build wise.
Yeah.
But I was actually thinking about it when I was rewatching the episode, and there's no reason why they couldn't have different legs, provided the legs are about the same length or something like that. So I could see, you know, have armor from one, armor from another, leg from one, leg from another, backpack from another one, and then maybe a headpiece from a different one. That still only gets you 6. But they could also maybe like have weapons or something like that from others.
Yeah, I think, or it might even just turn into its own Gundam at that point. Like, the actual core Gundam itself is wiped out, and he's got to do something new with the separate armors. Either way, I don't know. I feel like, because we saw at least 8 Tupperwares, if I remember correctly, in his closet, and they were all color coded. Did anybody else feel like the V2 just kind of got shit on in this episode? Like, so he brings in the V2 and then the 3, or the Earth armor. So he brings in the Venus armor and the Earth armor. Venus armor seemed completely useless for most of it until he decided that it wanted to work better, and then wipes out like the last suit with it.
That was something I didn't think was super great, because it was all just so that they could have they could show off the transformation for the episode. So he goes from Venus to Earth,
and Earth to Venus,
and from Earth to Venus, and there was no reason for that. They could have left that out completely, and the episode would not have been any worse for it. So that's one of those things where it is blatantly a commercial thing.
Yeah, like,
just like how in the original Gundam there was a mandate from Clover, I think it was, which was the original toy company, that they had to show off the transformation gimmick in every episode.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Jerry says it here. It's like, they made a big deal about the Mars 4, which they did. They showed it off ahead of time, and then had it sitting off to the side in case he needed it. Then he pulled it out to win that battle. And then the V2, he's just flying around with the V2, or Venus 2, however you want to call it. And then it's really not getting the job done, so he switches to Earth because it's got higher firepower, even though the Venus one is like a heavy arms version. It's got like all the guns.
Yeah.
It's like, so he's got a good all-rounder, and he's got his close range. Now he's got his multi-weapon setup, that does work at the final shot where they launches everything at the last guard, and then May does from the other side. So they were completely ineffective until they needed to not be.
Yeah, it feels like the planet armor system thing doesn't have a whole lot of point right now.
Not a ton of benefit yet.
Yeah, so
I think it's because, and
I
the
mean,
other
if it
point,
weren't for the fact that it looks so cool, I'd probably be down on that.
yeah.
At least to me, it looks cool.
Well, I figured, like I said before, in a discussion before the series started, it's like, okay, so it's literally going to become a suit of the week, just like a Kamen Rider series. Oh, we got a new power up. Got to switch to it real quick. Oh, next week it doesn't work on this new character, so we got to switch to another new one that'll work in this particular situation. I feel like that's what we're going to get.
We haven't quite reached that though, because we're 5 episodes in, and we've seen like 3 armors, and
yeah,
one of them
is
the
first 2 episodes he was only in the first one. So he only used Earth in the first 2 episodes. He pulled out Mars in the third one. He didn't use any of the secondary ones, I think, in the 5th episode. No, he didn't. And then he pulls out. So in the 2 episodes, we've seen 3 armors across 5 episodes. And that's only because in the 2 episodes that he switched, he wasn't using Earth as his main. Like, he brought him in for a reason. And then I like the fact that Kazumi brought it up. He's like, wait, can't you use that too to help us out? Because the Earth armor's floating above them. He's like, no, I can't pilot 2 things at once. Gee, I wonder if they're going to have to bring somebody else in to pilot his extra armor for him.
It does have a fake cockpit window on
the is that okay? So is that his sister that we see him spending time with? It's got to be, right?
I don't think so, because when she shows up at his house, it's not like she lives there. She said she's showing up to help cook or something like that. So she's your, anime typical childhood friend /
Well, that's what I thought at first, but then she went home with him like it was no big deal in this episode. Not like, unless he said something about like, your mom invited me for dinner. No, they just went home together like she lived there. I was like, wait.
It sounds like she's constantly showing up to help cook, because
I assume they're neighbors and old childhood friends. We know they're old childhood friends. We know that.
Because the ending titles are the end can go by, there's some sort of connection.
Yeah, it's just this episode, for some reason, it seemed like, wait a minute, like she literally just went straight home with him. Like there's nothing else, or did she call him to come home? I can't remember. At the end, I had to go back and rewatch it, but that was the only episode, because before this I was like, okay, they're old childhood friends. She's over because he even says, why are you here, in the first episode? And it's like, your mom needed help cooking or whatever. Then she got to work in the restaurant. So all that made sense. This episode, I went, wait, why did she just go home with him in this case? That was odd. But I guess, best friend / neighbor, wouldn't be odd to just, come hang out or whatever. It says her parents are working at the hospital a lot since they're doctors or something. Okay. Yeah. What if tie that in too. All the people at the hospital that are in comas are actually the MPDs in that world.
Oh,
that's not a thing. If that happens from a random comment, no, it's like I'm starting to piece together that anything and everything they mention is something important to the plot at this point.
That would be an interesting plot point, though. And that would be why they're trying to keep it secret and keep it safe, because it's some sort of medical.
Oh, that would be weird. They all think they're living in a dream, and he's writing the dream for them. And the dad is writing the dream for those characters. That'd be weird. That'd be so weird, because now they're bringing in people who are in a coma to give them something to do. That's actually very Sword Art Online, though.
Yeah, I was about to say that's sort of isekai.
Yeah. Well, that happened more or less. Remember the character who was dying and his only escape was going into Sword Art Online. That was really damn sad. Yeah, that was such a sad season. But that show.
I'm waiting to see how they handle that in Sword Art Online and Bridge. It's like, how do you make jokes about that?
I do think it's funny that we get this automatic badass that joins up with this team of nobodies whose name is Hiroto. And of course, Kirito from Sword Art Online. It's like, I swear to God, if he pulls out a double sword technique at some point in the next couple episodes, I'm gonna be like, damn it. It's like if they keep doing direct references to other anime, like they did with Fate Zero, or Fate Stay Night, whichever one they were directly referencing with Excalibur. That will be funny. It's like, yeah, so everything we see at this point is just references to other anime. But okay, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and end this because I gotta go to bed because I gotta get up stupid early in the morning. They're in a coma because the cook didn't have enough salt. Oh.
The only reason I knew that thing is because the Mobile Suit Breakdown podcast, and I remember them talking about that episode of Original Gundam.
Yeah, the salt gag. That's so funny. Like, they gotta ask for the salt, and there it goes. Okay, but guys, let us know in the comments or chat or whatever what your thoughts on the series is, and if you know what the heck I was talking about with that series that this really is reminding me of, please comment on it because I can't remember, and apparently Jerry can't either. But it sounds really familiar to everybody, so it must have been a thing. So if you know of a series that happened in the last maybe 10 years where characters are playing in a game or another world or whatever, and they find out that they've been playing a story that's being written by their father character or somebody along the lines, and all the bad things that have happened to them have been because of him, but he didn't know it. What he was writing was where his kids were interacting. If you know what that is, please let us know, whether it was a series of movies or something like that. So, of course, thanks for coming and hanging out, everybody who did. Everybody bailed at this point. But I didn't even get to say goodbye, and they're already bailing. So, guys, of course, if you are new here, yay. We've got a lot of new subscribers. By the way, go over to his channel. Go to the RODIMUS13 shelf space channel and subscribe to him. He needs a lot more subscribers, for the love of God. Basically, he's like me, but he dorkier. And so go watch the Spooktacular finale that I have listed in a playlist on my channel, so that you can see all the hard, cool work we put into building our Ghostbuster themed things. And in fact, tomorrow on my channel will be the build log for said thing will be posted. So if you want to see how I built my Ghostbuster thing, it'll be posted tomorrow. And then at some point I'll release the video of his reaction to seeing the containment unit. So drop it in the Discord. I shouldn't have to drop anything in the Discord, Jerry. Or he means the answer. Drop the answer in the thing. Either way. But guys, it's been fun. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you next time, and hopefully we can have like a weekly recap / review if we can manage it. Maybe not on Friday nights, but at some point after the episodes happen. But yeah, it's been fun talking as usual. And remember, as always, to keep on the nerding and keep on building, and let's keep building these divers together.
And I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.
Yes, which I need to do sometime soon so you can get this back. No spells this time. Bye, guys.
Bye.